Welcome back to the Bison Information Network. I'm Ethan Birnbaum, and we have plenty of news to get into, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. NDSU is under a little bit of heat right now from their student base after the aftermath of this year's homecoming election. Mechanical engineering student Landon Alex has started a petition that calls for the reversal of the NDSU policy put into effect in 2021 that allows two students of the same sex to win homecoming royalty. Alex argues that men and women are fundamentally different, and the homecoming court tradition is about celebrating the most admired of each individual gender, but not about turning the contest into a popularity contest. It's also important to note that Alex has said he's not attempting to undermine the winners of the 2023 election, but rather advocate for a change in future policy. His petition on change.org currently has over 400 signatures and counting. If you're interested in supporting both the local arts and spending a night on the town, then you'll be happy to hear that Dracula is showing this weekend and the next at NDSU's Ashkenazi Theater. In this new feminist adaptation, Dracula and his two wives are out for blood in London with nothing to fear. That is, until renowned Dr. Van Helsing arrives to destroy them and chaos ensues. There's no better time to see Dracula than October, and the director of the show held auditions at the end of August, which has given the acting troupe plenty of time to polish this production off. Free student tickets have already sold out, but in-person tickets are still available for those who would like to go. The Western Swing Dance Club and campus attractions are proud to present this year's Ballroom Barn Dance with a theme Under Neon Lights. The dance will take place on October 19th at 7 to 10 p.m. in the Memorial Union Ballroom, and those who have never swing danced before are welcome to attend. There will be instructors at the event to help people get into the groove and teach them some new dance moves. Of course, free dance will be an option after the instructors have finished, as always. The barn dance is completely free and will support glow sticks and supply them to the attendees in order to set the mood. So, with that being said, why don't you brush off your cat scratch and come dance under neon lights at the Ballroom Barn Dance. Although Friday the 13th is just around the corner, a man in Grand Forks got a little bit too excited ahead of time and ended up slashing 83 tires on October 1st. The Grand Forks Police Department has issued an arrest warrant for 31-year-old Matthew Morris after camera footage made him the primary suspect for over $17,000 in damages to other people's vehicles. 45 different victims have all come forward, and approximately 83 tires have been reported slashed. If you have any additional information on the incident, the Grand Forks Police Department is asking you to contact them at 701-787-8000. The Swifties that missed out of the Eras Tour are still in luck. The Eras Tour movie premieres tonight in Marcus Theaters here in Fargo. The Eras Tour movie will feature a recording of the concert itself and will only be showing for 4 weeks around the nation, with fans who come encouraged to stand up and sing as if they had made it to the tour themselves. Additionally, due to unprecedented demand, Marcus Theaters moved the release of the show a day ahead of schedule under Taylor's usherance. Now, everyone who's a fan of Taylor will get to experience her most popular tour for a fraction of its original price. An exciting new discovery was just revealed yesterday at NASA. The latest asteroid sample from space was found to contain the building blocks of life. This is unprecedented, as 7 years ago, NASA launched the OSIRIS-REx mission to analyze the contents of an asteroid, and the sample just touched down last month. The scientists who have been working hard to understand the composition of the asteroid have now confirmed that not only is the OSIRIS-REx sample carbon-rich, but it also contains water molecules. This is huge. It's also big news for NASA because these findings help shed light on exactly how life may have formed here on Earth and indicate how other planets may contain the building blocks for life as well. Coming up after the break, Logan has your week in Bison sports, so don't go away.
Founded in 1985, the Missouri Valley Football Conference has established a tradition of FCS football excellence. Competing at the highest level of NCAA Division I, student-athletes at its 10 institutions demonstrate character, passion, and integrity as they grow as a student, an athlete, and a citizen. The Missouri Valley Football Conference, where leaders are shaped and champions are forged.
One kid, one mentor, plus one moment can unlock limitless potential. 30,000 youth are waiting. Be there for one of them. Become a big today.
At NDSU, we're going to teach you about how to work with people. We're going to teach you about relationships with people and how to manage those relationships successfully, whether that's at work, whether that's at home. We have majors in agricultural communication, strategic communication, journalism, and management communication. We have students who have graduated who are doing all kinds of different things, everything from marketing to writing content to development to career coaching. We also, of course, have people doing more traditional things like news reporter or working for TV stations. The faculty members in our department advise undergraduate students. We think that it's important for faculty to develop relationships with our undergrads. We have an advisory board, and that consists of people in the community who are like local business people, and we try to make connections with those people so that literally we know the person that they should talk to about a job. You can't be in the world if you can't communicate. My recommendation is that you take some communication classes at the very least if you can. Even better, do a major in communication.
Welcome back to the Bison Sports Report. I'm Logan Gennerberg. Diving right into football, after a nightmare of a homecoming week, a rebound was much needed for the Bison, and boy did they get their prayers answered as the Bison traveled out to take on a floundering 1-3 Missouri State team, and it was nothing but NDSU from the start. The Bison swiftly racked up 28 points in the first half en route to a 28-7 lead, allowing them to turn on autopilot, sit back, and relax in the second half. The offense would rack up 534 total yards, and the defense forced 4 turnovers in a dominant 38-10 win over the Bears. Cam Miller did Cam Miller things once again, throwing for 256 yards and scoring 3 total touchdowns. And it was a Zach Mathis show as the wide receiver tallied 6 catches for 160 and 2 touchdowns. And Cole Payton made his opportunities count with 2 touchdowns and 61 total yards. The Bison desperately needed a get-right game as their next match will be a grueling one as they travel north to Grand Forks to take on number 15 North Dakota. The game will kick off on Saturday at 1 p.m. and can be watched on ESPN+, ABC North Dakota, or the Bison Sports Network. For volleyball, it was the week against South Dakota as the Bison faced off against both South Dakota State and South Dakota over the weekend. With the action kicking off on Thursday, let's dive in to how they did. Starting on Thursday, the Bison traveled to Brookings to challenge a struggling South Dakota State team, and the Bison would handle business, dismantling the Jackrabbits in a 3-0 shutout win. NDSU barely clinched the first 2 sets before winning the third and final by a comfortable 5 points. And it was a block party as the Bison recorded 12 blocks, double that of SDSU. Allie Hinsey did Allie Hinsey things, leading the Bison with 11 kills, 20 digs, and 3 blocks. Alexis Bowling was a game changer with 12 kills, 2 digs, and 4 blocks. And Ariana Bloom was a blocking machine for the Bison on the court with 8 kills and 6 blocks on the day. 6 blocks for one player? Whew. After a feel-good win, the Bison hoped to return home and build on their win streak, but it was not meant to be, as the incoming Coyotes would rug pull them with a 3-2 upset. The Bison started hot, taking the first set before losing the next 2 and final set in heartbreaking fashion. Freshman Lauren Jansen tried to win it herself with 20 kills and 4 digs. Allie Hinsey was consistent as always with 16 kills and 18 digs. And Ariana Bloom added to her stat sheet with another 8 kills and 5 blocks on the season. The Bison will get plenty of time to reset and rest as they will not play again until this Saturday when they travel to take on a 4-12 St. Thomas team in a must-have game. The game will begin at noon and can be watched on Midcoast Sports Plus or the Summit League Network. The soccer team is winding down on the regular season as they played 2 of their last 4 games of the season this past week, with both being must-wins for a team that struggled a little bit. Let's see if they got the job done. On Thursday, the Bison were on the road to take on Oral Roberts in a game they hoped to claim, but those hopes remained just that, as the Bison had the same amount of shots as they did yellow cards, with 4. Oral Roberts, on the other hand, was strong offensively with 15 shots and would crack the scoreboard for the lone goal of the day in the 70th minute. Olivia Lovick had the lone shot on goal for the day in a horrible showing for the Bison offensively, and goalie Abby Wilkinson did her best to hold back the Oral Roberts offense with 70 scoreless minutes before allowing the only goal of the match. After such a tough showing, the Bison needed to get back on track, and they would have a great opportunity to as they came back home to play host to North Dakota. They would get their offense back on track with 17 shots and 9 of them being on goal. Yet that scoreless streak would continue as the Bison would fail to score for the 4th straight game. Luckily for them, Abby Wilkinson would be perfect on the day, forcing a 0-0 tie for a Bison team that badly needs wins and ties. Ava Stanchina did all she could for the Bison, tallying 3 shots with 2 of them being on goal, and Abby Wilkinson put on yet another strong performance on the season, posting a shutout with 4 shots on goal against her. The Bison will look to close strong, playing 2 of their final games next week, and they will be on the road to begin the weekend, playing against South Dakota Sunday at 1 p.m., and that game can be watched on the Summit League Network. Both cross-country teams were active this past weekend, participating in the Jimmy Invitational held nearby in Jamestown. Starting with the men had their best performance on the year, finishing 2nd out of the 12 teams invited with a team score of 93. MSU Moorhead took the Invitational with a score of 59. Zach Johnson was dominant in the race, taking 3rd overall with a time of 25 minutes and 16 seconds. Ivan Askim ran strong as well, taking 7th with a 25:34 time, and Evan Luer placed 9th with a 25:38 time, giving the Bison 3 runners that finished in the top 10. As for the women's team as a whole did not participate in the invite. However, 2 individual runners did, with a top 10 finish from one of them. AC Elkins was the Bison of the day for the women, with a 22:47 time, giving her a 7th place finish. And Ava Larson would claim 21st with a 23:48 time. After a great team meet from the men and strong individual performances from the women, it was a good tune-up meet for the Bison. The Bison will get ready for a big meet this week as they head to Peoria to compete in the Bradley Pink Classic. The meet will kick off tomorrow at 3 for the men and 3:45 for the women. Now, even though the weather may be getting a little bit cold, both golf teams were active this past week, competing in 2 different meets. Starting with the men's team, the Bison headed to California to participate in the Bill Cullum Invitational, where they would find success tying for 4th with Sacramento State, posting a team score of 20 over par. Cal State Fullerton would go on to win the meet with a team score of 6 over par. But Jack Johnson was out of this world for the Bison, tying for 3rd overall at 2 under par. Josh Galvin would also have a solid showing, tying for 17th with a 6 over par score, and Gavin Cronkite kept the tie streak going, tying for 27th with 8 over par. Now moving on to the women were in Illinois for the Loyola Parkinson Family Invitational, and this would be their last meet until February, so the Bison would make it worth it, winning the event with a team score of 50 over par. Elise Hoven once again led the Bison, placing tied for 5th with a 10 over par on the course. Maddie Hicks also tied with Hoven, putting up a 10 over par. And Leah Scar would tie for 9th with a 14 over par score, giving the Bison 3 golfers in the top 10. Now, after a dominant showing from both teams, the women will roll into next year with the 1st place finish. However, for the men will get a lengthy break, and they will have off until late October, when they will compete in the Monterrey International Intercollegiate Meet down in Monterrey, Mexico. Well, that is all I have for yet another busy Bison sports report this week. We're halfway through October, and that tends to always mean colder weather here in Fargo. Henry, are we expecting to see a drop in temperatures, or can we expect a little more nice weather here?
Thanks, Logan. Our current conditions right now, we're currently overcast and our current temperature is around 55 degrees with a dew point of 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Our humidity right now is around 44% and winds are coming from the northeast at 26 miles an hour with gusts up to 32 miles an hour. Going to our hour by hour, it's going to be pretty overcast from now until 6 in the morning, where we could see as it gets down to 1 and 3 and 6, we start getting into the 40s territory. Going to our skycast, we had a whopping 11 hours and 5 minutes of daylight today, with sunrise at 11:40 and sunset at 6:45. It's starting to become that time of year at NDSU. As for our mooncast, we had a waxing crescent last night, and we're expecting a new moon on October 14th. Going in today's almanac, today's temps we had a high of 59 and a low of 43. Average temps on this day in the past included a high of 58 and a low of 37. And record temps on this day, in 1956, we had a high of 84, and in 1919, we had a low of 13. Going to national temperatures, as you can see here, we're seeing pretty normal temperatures for this time of year in the south and going up to the northeast. And up here, we're also seeing pretty normal fall temperatures in our neck of the woods. Going to rain for the next 48 hours, we're seeing a storm coming through this area and going down toward the southern coast over here. But we're mostly looking for this rain that's coming up here, which we'll be seeing a little bit tomorrow. Going to our 7-day forecast, as you can see, we have our rain for tomorrow. We're expecting a lot of rain tomorrow, so bring a raincoat with a high of 50 and a low of 43. And this weekend's not faring too better, with mostly to partly cloudy skies, with the highs in the low 50s and lows in the mid 40s. Going to our 7-day forecast, or rest of our 7-day forecast, excuse me, we're looking at highs in the mid 50s with partly to overcast skies on most days, with lows getting down to the 30s. That's not all. Today was National Farmers Day, National Harry Potter Book Day, and National Gumbo. Well, that's all I have for my weather thing. Thank you.
Well, it looks like winter is right around the corner, but at least we still have a little bit of time left to enjoy being out and about without a coat and hat around NDSU's campus. That wraps it up for the Bison Information Network. I'm Logan Genneberg signing off, and we will see you back here next week. Take care, everyone.